Let's take a look at drawing a rough preliminary for the client. We have a model, we have a view, we put some cars and people and some trees in there, so we kind of already start to understand what our composition is. So rough preliminary drawing just for client sign off before we do the final line work. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at the model, and we brought it into Procreate, and we have a couple layers in here, and here's how we start out our file. We got two layers here, one being just a regular background layer, and I have a layer here without the trees on it. Sometimes you want trees and sometimes you don't want trees, so let's say we're gonna make two more layers here, and I'm gonna fill each layer with white. Fill. This guy, fill. And I'm just going to turn him off, and this guy I'm going to lower the opacity. So we're going to start here, we're going to make a new layer, and we're going to just rename it and call it line. We're going to use a brush, it's called 6B. I love using it, it's absolutely terrific. It's in the Depiction brush set, and it's called 6B pencil. And our percentage is set to around 30%, and we're going to start drawing here. Again, we got our two layers, A and B, and we start with the line. We're going to take a look at these people. Here's this guy. Again, this wants to be loose. This is a prelim drawing, so we're just going to, the fatter your ink line, the easier it is to draw quickly. If you have a small line that you're drawing with, you end up adding time and being a little bit more fussy with it. So we're just going to draw these people. We're just blocking in the shapes. And in this case, they're on a crosswalk. So let's do this guy. And there's going to be another crosswalk line right here. And then that crosses the street over this way. And we got some cars over here that we dropped in the model, and we stacked them. You can see these cars here like this, and this car looks a little long. I'm just going to shorten them up a little bit, and we're going to do like this. We got our window, just trying to get the basic shape in here and say, here's a car, right? Here's the window, and there's going to be shadows underneath here. The shadows help the objects sit on the ground. Now, what is the least amount of line that you can draw that defines this shape? Okay, so here's a guy walking back here. Here's a tree. We know that our trees are scaled properly because we put them in the model. This guy's around 30 feet. Here's another tree. We're just being really loose with this. Here's a person. And we're going to draw another tree over here. One of the easiest things is to draw the trees in first, and then you don't have to worry about drawing in whatever information there is behind it. So here's a person walking. Here's our other side of the crosswalk. And here's our curb line. We got cars in here. Right, so here's our first car, here's our other car. There's actually a park back in here, so I think that this car needs to be back and a little bit smaller. So I'll just draw them in, make them a little smaller and move them back. And now we can see this park space in the back. There's a little building back here. So here we got trees. There. When you're drawing these trees, there's a bunch of trees back in here, but you can clump them together, right? So that you don't just have a bunch of lines in the back. So, and here's another tree, right? Nice and loose, but accurately scaled. Here's our curb line in here, and it comes through here like this guy. And we have a nice round curve there. And I'm just going to erase some of the people line in there. And this person here, she's walking into the space. She's walking this way. These people are facing this way. This person's here. This person's walking here. But there's a lot of directional elements that are happening through here. And so here you go. This gal's here, and she's actually standing in the road. We got two people here. This man and this lady here. We're saying, okay, here's some folks. They're standing on the corner. Here's her pants. Here's her shoes there. And we got another tree here. Maybe there's some plantings that sit here. The client would say whether they want to show plantings here or not. We got more people. And these guys are going to be here like this. And then we're going to rough in the buildings. Now we could set up Perspective Assist in Procreate, but this is just down and dirty and quick. We're just trying to get the basic forms in. We got tree placement where we want them. Here's this guy. He runs in here. I could draw all these bits, but I really don't think you need to. This area up here is kind of tight, so we might just bring this down just a little bit so it's not scraping the top of the image. And we're going to pick up a couple of other details from the building. So we got a detailing over here, and we're just going to slide it on over to the other side and just say, okay, well maybe there's another setback here, and there's this guy. We got these little overhang elements. We got some canopy elements here, and this is a little. This is a section of row houses back there, and then we got another guy over here. Let me just try to straighten that up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And then we got our edge of our buildings. We're going to break that apart. This guy's a little too crooked, so we'll just correct that a little bit. The understory of these pieces, the underside of those pieces. And here we got some, maybe we'll put some people here, people back here. There's some more trees. So, real quick. And of course, we'll detail all of these elements. We'll take a look at the architectural photos that the client sent on over, and we're going to use those photos and inspiration to draw in some of the architecture into the final line drawing. So here we go. This is the preliminary sketch. We'll shoot this off for approval. Once we get approval, we'll start the final line drawing process.